Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. I'm Charlie Hannema, joined as always by the head coach of the #1 Broken Arrow Tigers, David Alexander. Coach, as always, thanks for being here.
Of course, Charlie.
What a week again for Broken Arrow, coming off a 69-10 win over Westmoore on homecoming.
Yeah, it was a great week. Obviously, the football game was the culmination of the whole deal, but homecoming, start off with the parade on Tuesday, and then we invited the homecoming court into our team dinner on Wednesday, the dance on Thursday night. So, we do homecoming here better in Broken Arrow better than anybody else, and then obviously winning the football game the way we did even makes it better.
And a special moment for you guys as Noah Cortez, homecoming king.
Yeah, how cool is that? We had 3 football players on the homecoming court. We had, obviously, Noah was the homecoming king, was voted in by his classmates, which is obviously a very big deal. And you had Gavin Potter and Zach Marcaselli on the court as well. But having a homecoming king, that's really cool. Our whole student body votes on that. And so that tells you a lot about Noah Cortez and his character. And
we've kind of talked about this throughout the year, but he's totally embraced that leadership role. I mean, he's the guy on your team, and he carries that not just on the field, but kind of throughout the whole school. And so it's cool to see.
He does, Charlie, man. We've always talked about his God-given abilities as a football player and what he's done for the football team. But to be named homecoming king when everybody in the school is voting for it, that tells you that he's not just huddled up with the football team, right? He's interacting with everybody at lunch, in class, leadership, all those different things. And that really means as much to me as anything, because that shows you how much that, it just doesn't say, hey, Coach Alexander says Noah loves Broken Arrow. It shows you that he loves Broken Arrow and Broken Arrow loves him. And it's really cool that he was a homecoming king.
Yeah, that's a lifetime memory right there.
Sure.
I mean, we still look back at your pictures and your letter jacket from your playing career.
That's right.
Who knows what Noah will end up doing, and we'll look back at this week, 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah, 100%. I've got my letter jacket hanging in my office over there, and the picture of me in the homecoming court. So, yes, from now on, his 10-year, his 20-year, his 30-year reunion, he'll get to wear around the crown and be the king, and that's pretty cool.
6-0 Broken Arrow at 6-0 Edmond Santa Fe Friday night with already beating Jinx. This is pretty much for the de facto district championship. Obviously, some things can kind of shake out, but 6-0, probably not hard to get the guys ready for this one, huh?
No, it's definitely not. Edmond Santa Fe is obviously a very good football team. They have been since I've been playing against them. They've got some Division I kids. They obviously should be emotionally very high. 6-0. There hasn't been very many close games for them, and so we better come out of the tunnel playing as well and as hard as we played these first 6 games, and because I know Edmond Santa Fe is going to be ready for us.
All things seem to be working well for the Broken Arrow Tigers. We'll take a timeout and look back at that Westmoore game after this. This is Broken Arrow football.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy. You get $150 just for switching. And every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
The Tigers of 1929 tied for the Oil Valley Conference lead with rival Bixby Spartans. Broken Arrow's only loss coming at the hands of the Spartans, who finished their schedule with 2 ties and no losses. Apparently, Bixby wanted no more of our Tigers that year, as they refused a challenge from Broken Arrow after the season to play off the tie. This great moment in Tiger history is brought to you by First National Bank of Broken Arrow, a loyal fan of our community for over 100 years. First National Bank of Broken Arrow, the right balance.
Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib is brought to you in part by TTCU Federal Credit Union, St. John Broken Arrow, Tulsa Bone and Joint, First National Bank of Broken Arrow, the Arrow Group, and Matthews Ford. Thank you for your support of Tiger Football and Broken Arrow Public Schools. Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Charlie Hannema and Coach Alexander with you. And that Westmoore game, the offense firing again, the defense was doing it, special teams. I mean, everything seems to be just working for your club right now.
Yeah, we're playing pretty sharp right now. Offensively, converted a couple third downs in that first drive with our arm, right? Logan Matthews, a couple big catches, go right down and score, kind of set the tone. Again, Noah Cortez with a couple amazing runs, just breaking tackles and not anybody able on Westmoore to bring him down. He played fantastic. Both quarterbacks, again, big. Kewan Tolbert with the first touchdown of the game, right? Noah had carried the ball down the field, let Kewan get in there and score. So we distribute the ball very, very well offensively. Man, defense, another fantastic effort. Got a defensive touchdown. Man, those are always so fun. Man, we're talking about bringing juice to the sidelines. When you get a defensive score, everybody gets fired up.
21 points in the first quarter. Kotevin Cherry, we'll talk to him coming up on our players segment, a 28-yard run with just 12 seconds left. You talk about setting the tone.
Right. Broken
Arrow's outscoring opponents 95-14 in the first quarter this year. And so you're going to win a lot of games when you set the first quarter like that.
Well, when you come in as the #1 ranked team, or a team that you feel, the other team says, man, we're going to have to play perfect to beat Broken Arrow, and then you go right down the field and score, and you put 14 or 21 points up in the first quarter, it puts a lot of doubt into their mind that they have a chance to come back. And so that's what we talked about. You set the expectation level team of your effort, right? And if we'll do that, we'll come out of the tunnel playing like that and put points on the board early, it puts doubts in those other teams' mind.
How do you adjust that mindset for your team? Now you guys are the hunted when you've been the hunters for a long time, saying, hey, it used to be we can play with these guys, we can play with these guys, and now it's, we're going to get everybody's best shot. We're not going to surprise anybody because we're #1.
Yeah, well, Charlie, we're not shying away from that. We're embracing that. We're excited that we've done what we've done and that we're now #1. But so the talk is, hey, Broken Arrow, hey, offense, defense, special teams, look what you did, right? Look what you did. Right? Everybody, including myself and the coaching staff, and hopefully your teammates, are expecting every time you put something on film to be at this effort level and this level of execution. And so we've talked about it before with Coach Wilkinson and Coach Hill. The way they've set up their offense and their defense is internal competition. Man, if you have internal competition and everybody's fighting to get to that tackle, be the first guy there, right? Or be the big block or be the big catch. Everybody's playing faster and more physical. And that's also where you get the defensive touchdowns, right? Somebody creates a fumble, and since there's 3 or 4 or 5 guys running the football, we're always there, the first one there. And then Kaiser Newell picks up the ball, runs 78, 80 yards, whatever it was, for a touchdown, and that's where those effort plays come in.
Yeah, we had it at 80 for Kaiser Newell,
nice.
And he caught a touchdown pass too, and then he had a 1-yard run. We kind of joke about he might be the most efficient player in high school football. 5 carries, 7 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Love it.
Fullback, here you go, do your thing.
And how about the dive over the top? I think he's done that twice. I love it, the dive over the top. And he also had about a 60 or 65-yard touchdown called back early in the game. He's in such great shape. He's big, physical. He plays almost every play of the game, right? He plays every snap of defense and most of the offensive snaps. And he had a whale of a game.
Noah Cortez was big again, 18 carries, 193 yards, 4 touchdowns, one of them 54 yards, 10.7 yards per carry. I mean, that's
a good average, right? That's good. I've told Coach Wilkinson, maybe we're not giving it to him enough, but that's always jokingly because he's getting the ball plenty. I think it's 10 touchdowns now in 2 games. That's a statistic that's hard to wrap my head around.
Right.
But he's getting those touchdowns because 2 of those runs this last week against Westmoore were just incredible. Breaking 3 or 4 tackles, keeping his legs moving. He's playing fantastic.
He's got something on that Westmoore defense. Last year was the game where he jumped over that guy and ran 74 yards, and then a couple of other tough ones this week. It's just been incredible to watch him play.
Yep.
He's just 10 yards short of second place all time, so I can assume that'll happen Friday. 502 yards behind Jamal Shaw for the all-time school record, and with 4 regular season games, and you presume hopefully 3 playoff games, the state championship, that's definitely doable.
Yeah, obviously he'll get into second place this next weekend against Santa Fe, or next Friday, and then if Noah just does what Noah does, and our offensive line continues to play like they're playing, yeah, it'll be hard pressed for him not to get the record.
Your quarterbacks are also continuing to play well. We've got Quintevin Cherry coming up in our next segment. 7 carries, 70 yards, a 28-yard touchdown, completed 2 passes. And then Tate Robards threw for 2 scores, 7 of 8, 141 yards. You look back at him the last 3 games, 22 of 28. That's 79% for 408 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And that interception easily could have been another touchdown.
Right.
It was just one of the weirdest plays we've seen. So you look at those numbers, and they could be even better than what they are.
Right, which is they're super, super efficient. You know, and we talked about Kaiser Newell catching the pass that was called back. You know, that's a Q. That's Q threw that ball to him, Quintevin. So I mean, there's a 60-yard touchdown call back. So if you can be efficient in the passing game, you know, the way we set up our offense, we've got to be efficient. When we throw it, we've got to convert third downs and get those big plays, and we're doing that right now. And if you'll match that up with our run game with Noah and Q running the football, we're a tough handle right now.
You talk about offensive efficiency. It doesn't get more ridiculous than this, frankly. A touchdown on every drive of the game except for one when there was that fumble. And through 6 games, just 6 3-and-outs all season and 68 drives.
Well, you know, you mentioned that to me when we were off camera, the 6 3-and-outs. That's another statistic that tells you a lot about our offensive game plan, right? We're dissecting the team the weekend before, and we kind of know what's going to happen. We think we know what's going to happen, and it's played out that way. But it's the efficiency of the quarterbacks, the blocking offensive line, and we're staying ahead of the chains because we can run the football on first down. Man, if we can continue that trend through the rest of the season, that will be a statistic that Coach Alexander will probably be most proud of.
Something special is brewing in Broken Arrow, certainly. We'll take a timeout on Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. It's our player segment up next with senior quarterback Quintevin Cherry. This is Broken Arrow Football.
In the folded flag, we see the heavy price of freedom. Nearly 9 out of 10 dependents of America's fallen and disabled soldiers do not qualify for federal scholarship assistance. The Folds of Honor closes that gap, already providing over 10,000 scholarships. Join us in this noble mission. Donate today at foldsofhonor.org. This is your call to duty.
My kids had just recovered from being sick, and I found myself sick. And it was time for me to get the care that I needed, and I didn't want to get the kids out of the house, so I used St. John On Demand.
St. John Clinic On Demand is our innovative 24/7 virtual care clinic. It's accessible from your phone, from a tablet, or from your computer anytime.
I registered for the appointment on my phone and visited with a provider and had a prescription called in for me all within an hour.
So the type of patient that would use this service is someone that has a minor illness. Angela's case is a perfect use of our services. We came to her in her time of need versus her having to come for us.
St. John On Demand is such a great alternative to loading the kids up, getting them to the doctor's office, waiting in the waiting room. So now I'm healthy, my kids are healthy, and I will definitely use St. John On Demand again.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Time now for our players segment, and we're joined by senior quarterback Quintevin Cherry. Q, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, what's this like for you coming in here in the summer from Muskogee and now being part of a team that's 6-0 and #1 in the state of Oklahoma?
It's sort of overwhelming. I mean, coming here, you know, not really. I mean, I expected for us to win state, but starting off 6-0, starting off strong. I didn't know we would have, you know, Union Owasso and Jinx the first 4 games, and for us to go out there and beat them the way we did, I just feel overwhelmed, and I feel like I made the right decision as far as, you know, where to come and where to move to.
As a guy who hasn't grown up here, what's the energy like when you run out of that tunnel with the crowds that you've seen at Memorial Stadium this year when you have 10,000, 11,000 people there all screaming and yelling?
Man, I catch chills. I mean, just looking at the jungle, just watching all them go crazy, and then looking at the fans and seeing all of it just filled up. And, you know, our home side sits, how many, like?
Yeah, 6,500 or so, yeah, there's a bunch.
A lot, and it's just be filled up, and people be standing up, and so it's just overwhelming, just seeing all them people too.
I think back to the Owasso game, kind of when you came into your own there, just had a massive game there, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 punishing touchdowns. Now that you've got 6 games under your belt, where do you feel your game is continuing to develop as this season moves on?
The running, honestly, you know, people came in. I mean, I came in the season, people already know that I can run, but actually sitting there waiting on blocks to happen, and just, you know, reading things, reading defenses and the O-line and knowing what they're supposed to do is just, it's different for me because, you know, that's what running backs are supposed to do. And for me to be a quarterback having to do that, I feel like I've bettered myself, you know, both sides throwing and running because of that.
A little bit of trust factor there with your teammates as opposed to just trying to make the whole play yourself.
Yeah, you know, having that O-line we got, it's not hard when to go score. It's not hard scoring. And then having the receivers we got, just trusting them, throwing the ball up, putting it in their hands, I mean, you really can't go wrong with that.
Talking with senior quarterback Quintevin Cherry, I'm curious, how do you keep yourself sharp on the sidelines when, you know, you have a two-quarterback system where, you know, a lot of times we've seen you on the third series of the game or big third down plays, and you might be in for a whole drive, you might be in for 2 plays, and then come out for 2 plays. How do you just kind of stay locked in and in a rhythm there?
I just put my trust into, you know, Coach A and Coach Wilk, because, you know, Coach Wilk's down there calling the plays. Coach A, you know, Coach A's the head coach, so, you know, whenever they, you know, they put me in the third down situations, I'm just like, okay, they're putting you out here for a reason. You know, don't go out here and jog. You know, don't get the first down, because I mean, you probably won't go back in. So, you know, every opportunity that I get to go in the game, I feel like, you know, it's an opportunity for me to play more. So I just go out there with that mindset so that I got to stay ready.
Coach, the old football adage kind of has been traditionally, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really don't have any.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to be true with your guys. They do such a different set of skills with Tate Robards and Q, and both of them just have been thriving, it seems.
Well, you know, two quarterbacks playing in the same game doesn't work if you don't have guys with character that are doing it, right? You know, Q is Tate's biggest fan when he's on the field, right, and vice versa. I don't know how many times this year when Q's been on the sidelines and the offense made a play, Q's the first guy out the numbers, high-fiving everybody. You know, and you guys, you brought up those, you know, just running him in on third down. You know, we don't run Q in on third down, 3rd and 2, just because we feel with it, hey, that might be a good idea. And he's earned our trust. He's earned the respect. We know what we're going to get. And his talents, his God-given abilities, you know, just make that a lethal weapon for us at Broken Arrow, putting him in the football game.
Everybody sees you run, obviously, but you have a cannon for an arm, too. I mean, I've watched you in warm-ups. It's just crazy. So just out of curiosity, how far can you throw a ball here? 150 yards?
I say about 75, 80, depending on a good day or a bad day.
I believe it, man. Coach, you watch him in warm-ups, and, you know, before the Union game, Q was warming up, and he didn't have any BA gear on. It was so far before the game, and he was throwing with Noah, and I hadn't seen you without your uniform on. And I remember this. I went up to you. I said, "Who's that guy?" He said, "That's Cherry." And I said, "I thought it was like a college guy that came back. He was throwing with Noah. Kids. You're out there just throwing bullets, and it's just been impressive to watch you. And I know it's got to be fun just going to practice every day, knowing you know 6-0, and you got Noah on pace for a school record, and you know 69 points last week, 63 points. I mean, the offense is just, I mean, firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, we're putting up some creative player numbers.
You know, we've talked in the team meetings. You know, winning football games. That's why we're there, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why we're in the locker room. But you know, Q and Tate and Noah and the offense and the defense. You know, we've set the expectation level of what we're supposed to do, and you know, we're supposed to go out and play great football games. But you got to have leaders. You got to have guys that want to go do it. And ever since Q's been here, he's awesome in the locker room. He's awesome with his teammates. He's done everything that we've asked him to do and more. And you know, if we'll just keep practicing and playing like we've done these first 6 games, you know, we'll get to the end of the season, we'll get rolling in the playoffs, and then hey, it'll be 0. You know, we'll be back to 0-0, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Quintevin Cherry is our guest at Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib and Q. Obviously, being a great athlete, you've been on a number of teams throughout your career, but what's different about this one?
I just have to say our team's mindset as a whole. You know, I've never met a group of people that, you know, that thinks the same way that I think and feel the same way that I feel. You know, I don't have to go in there and, you know, force people to work because they're already working. They're waiting on me to start with them. Like, come on, Q, you ready? Like, let's go. You know, at the other school, it's just like, you know, you walk in, people sitting down, you're just like, come on, like, get up, work out. You know, some people just be like, no. But here at BA, everyone's on the same page. Everyone wants to win. Everyone has that dog mentality. I
know it's still early in the week, but a big game coming up with Edmond Santa Fe Friday. What have you seen from them as you start to get ready for that one?
They're physical. You know, they got some good players. They got pretty good defense. So, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, that's what we expect from every game, to be honest. So we're just going to go out there and just play the way we've been playing. And
do you like home games or road games better? Some people thrive on that kind of everybody against you mentality, and other people like having the the cheer of the crowd. So I'm just curious, what's that like going on the road for you?
I'm not gonna lie, playing at home is my favorite, but playing away, I mean, just you can get your own energy, because you really don't have that many people cheering for you, building you up. So I mean, just for you to get your own energy from just your teammates and your team, I mean, I feel like that's more special than getting it from our fans because I mean, we're just growing as a whole together by being away.
Coach, what else do we need to know about Quintevin Cherry?
Well, if the rumors are true, and I think I say rumors, he's going to play. He's going to help the basketball team this year too.
Yeah,
and that's awesome. Coach Wallace is loving it, right? He lost a lot of seniors last year. Q's going to come in and bring some leadership to that locker room as well.
Sure.
And I'm excited about that. He's here. He's he's completely a Broken Arrow Tiger. Q's role on offense keeps getting bigger. It took Q. It took also Tate. It took Tate a few games to say, hey, I know Coach Alexander's been telling me about this offensive line, how good they are, but man, they can stand in there in that pocket and wait. You might get hit, but it's going to be 4 or 5 seconds later standing in there.
Right.
So that trust factor's gone. We've won some big games, and now we kind of know who we are. And watching Q and watching the way he's handled our offense and our offensive linemen and bringing energy to practice, it's fun to watch this young man right here.
I love it. Q, thanks for joining us. Good luck Friday against Edmond Santa Fe.
Thank you.
That's Quintevin Cherry, senior quarterback in our players segment. He's getting $25 to Rib Crib for appearing on the show. More Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib coming up after this.
The 1982 Pride of Broken Arrow Marching Band had a spectacular and rewarding year. Led by senior drum major Paul Gerder and junior drum major Mindy Denton, the Pride and its members practiced relentlessly with the utmost determination and won the sweepstakes of the Midwest Championship in the Colorado Marching Band competition, which was truly a great honor and led many to declare the Pride the grandest band in the land. This great moment in Tiger history is brought to you by First National Bank of Broken Arrow, a loyal fan of our community for over 100 years. First National Bank of Broken Arrow, the right balance.
My name is Abigail Bailey. I was at my yearly checkup when I was 12, and we went and got x-rays, and she diagnosed me with scoliosis and that we needed surgery as soon as possible.
Tulsa Bone and Joint was very compassionate. They took their time with us. They answered questions. He was very encouraging.
Dr. Clark helped me see that there is life after spinal fusion. Just because your spine is fused doesn't mean that you can't do what you love to do.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Final segment here with Coach Alexander as the Tigers get ready to hit the road for Edmond Santa Fe. That game, a 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday night. We'll have the pregame show of the Animals starting at 6:30, and then we'll have the stream on ArrowVision a little bit before 7. Coach, Edmond Santa Fe, 6-0.
Sure.
Last time we were down there, one of the weirdest games in memory.
Right.
So, it's not necessarily a cakewalk like some of these West Side schools can be.
No, Edmond Santa Fe does a good job. The coaching staff does a good job. They've got some really, really good football players. Some of their main guys are on the defensive side of the football, 2 really good defensive ends. The last 3 times we've played Edmond Santa Fe, they faked a punt on us. They've gotten an onside kick a couple of years ago. So they have a coaching staff that's willing to take some risks, take some gambles. So we're hopefully we'll be prepared for that because those can backfire on a coaching staff too. If you can make them pay for faking a punt on their own side of the field and get a short field, we'll have to take advantage of all those mistakes.
Their quarterback, Kanan Hansen, is a returning starter. I think this is his 3rd year starting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so kind of a dual threat guy, maybe a little bit different than what we've been seeing, a little more talented than quarterbacks we've seen probably since the Owasso game.
Yeah, and he's got a great pedigree. He's got an older brother that signed with Oklahoma, is now playing the starting quarterback at Arkansas State. So he's got the mind for it. He's tall, slender, but tall, big arm. I'm hoping the weather forecast is for a nice, calm night, beautiful. Coach Alexander was hoping for a little rain or a little wind, but they're a good football team. They will be spread it out. They'll throw it quite a bit more than they run it. They do have a package where they bring in a bunch of fullbacks and take the quarterback out. So we have a big game plan defensively, more than we have in the last few weeks, and probably since the Owasso game as well. Our game plan defensively is quite a bit bigger. So we'll need to be sharp. They're a good football team. We need to go win this one.
What matchup do you key on in this one? I'm guessing probably, anytime you got a Tulsa team against an Oklahoma City team, I always look at the physicality of the lines, and I think that probably will be tough for them to match. But what do you see?
Well, agreed, right? And we've built our team on being physical on both sides of the ball. Our front seven on defense and our offensive line. They've got two really good defensive ends that like to rush the quarterback. They're tall, slender guys, can really run. Let's see how we do how they do. We put a tight end and a fullback in front of them. We're going to limit the space where they can run around. That'll be the telltale sign. That's Coach Alexander. Thanks for the time, as always. Good luck, Charlie. We'll talk to you on Friday night. Broken Arrow and Edmond Santa Fe. Friday night, 7 o'clock down there at Edmond. We'll have the pregame show on the Animal at 6:30 and on Arrow Vision around the world just a little bit before 7. For Greg Spencer, Terry Sprider, and Sean Hill, I'm Charlie Hannema saying good night from Broken Arrow.